This is a situation where a comedian at Trump's rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. President Joe Biden then called the people who laughed at the joke garbage, I guess being used to say he's calling Republicans garbage. There's no way the candidates wanted this to be the conversation. Is this a week that can do more damage than good to a campaign, Kevin?
Yeah, Joe Biden has been Donald Trump's best surrogate now for about a month. He first called for him to be locked up, and then he put a MAGA hat on. He's not doing any favors for Kamala Harris right now, so I don't think we'll see him again. I don't know if you can contain him. He is the president of the United States, but man, they've got to be pulling their hair out at Harris headquarters right now.
What do you think, Aisha?
That's a hilarious response. The question was, how do we think the fallout is going to go with Puerto Rican voters, who are 500,000 of them, by the way, in the state of Pennsylvania alone, that heard that really horrible, awful joke that wasn't funny, calling Puerto Ricans essentially trash. It ain't going over well. That is what we're seeing. The Harris campaign is certainly taking in his own words the horrible things that Donald Trump, as well as J.D. Vance, have said, and using those in ads, and Americans are hearing them directly from the source. But now they got more fodder from this crazy rally that happened here in New York, where I am. So, the thing that's interesting, though, I just want to put a fine point on, Adrienne. Certainly, the Republicans are not interested in trying to bring more people into the fold. It is not their strategy, never has been. Democrats want the biggest tent possible of Americans to rally together to do what's best for the nation, which is why you see hundreds of Republicans coming out and actively campaigning on behalf of and in support of Kamala Harris. Trump, on the other hand, thinks that he wins when fewer people show up and participate. So it seems to me that these kind of crass jokes that ostracize people are a part of their strategy, because they want folks to stay home. They think it's better for them. Really weird.
Hang on. The sitting president of the United States called half the country garbage. That's a much bigger deal than, an insult comedian that should have never been there. Making a bad joke.
The United States is talking about that. I just want Canadians to know no one is talking about that. It's actually not a part of our news.
Okay, hang on a second here. So, we're not going to relitigate that. I think you've both made the point that both parties are in damage control over what these surrogates said, right? But these are not the only 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling worries for these parties right now. Aisha, I hear what you're saying with the confidence there, but can't tell me Democrats aren't worried about something right now.
So, here's the thing. We are in the United States where every election is close. So no one would pretend that someone's going to run away with this. Absolutely every single vote is going to be hard fought. And that is why you see that for months and months and months now, Democrats have had a very strong apparatus in states on the ground. There are hundreds of field offices all around this country where you have staff and volunteers going out and knocking on doors. This weekend is going to be a saturation, certainly of the 7 key swing states, but of most of America, with Democrats who are out there talking to voters. The field game, the ground game, the voter contact, and the encouragement to just go to the polls is how elections are won, and Democrats are strongest at that. The Republicans, all they have is Elon Musk tweeting and spending money to put up some ads that nobody sees. They're not on the ground actually talking to people and getting them turned out. So the enthusiasm and optimism that you hear from me is really a strategic and tactical understanding that, when you set up a business, you run your operations as efficiently as you can to try to do as best as you can. That's all you can do, right? The Democratic operation and machine is well oiled and functioning well, and that feels good. So we'll see how it all plays out on Tuesday.
Kevin, I'm going to guess you're going to say that the Republicans have more than a few social media ads and that a few people will see. But what is the status of the ground game for the Republicans? Because from this vantage point, it looks like that is where they might be struggling.
Well, we always are at a disadvantage with ground game. I will agree that Democrats have a better ground game than we do traditionally. However, in Nevada, we're currently leading 44,000 early votes. In North Carolina, they're up 300,000. and it goes on and on. So they do seem to be getting the vote out at this point. And the closer we get to Election Day, the more Republican it generally gets, because it gets more male. Women tend to vote much earlier. So they seem to be doing quite well now in at least a few of the battleground states. We'll see if that holds. We'll see if the numbers stay down in urban and versus rural, and how that all comes together. But we are at a disadvantage. We always are. We're not as organized for whatever reason than Democrats are. But right now, it looks really good for Republicans.
Aisha, what is something that I mean, real talk here, what is something that Democrats are actually worried about?
You know, at the end of the day, there certainly are some men who are really behind this antiquated idea of a misogynistic, patriarchy and a bully mentality. And Donald Trump speaks to them. He speaks to them. And frankly, he speaks to them because a lot of Democrats aren't speaking to the issues that are on their hearts and minds. And one of the things that does concern me is, are we doing enough to really speak to the issues that men, especially white men in America, who feel like they're not being heard, who feel like they are under a threat by immigrants coming into this country, who feel like the way of life that they expect in their households with regards to women being subservient or whatever it is, that in some way that is being questioned or threatened? I don't know that we are really reaching them in a way that brings them in.
One quick question to both of you. I have about 30 seconds left. Forgive me for that. But look ahead to election night. What is one storyline, one through line we should be watching for? Start with you, Kevin.
Yeah, the first thing you're going to be able to watch is the early states like Kentucky and Indiana, and see what the suburb turnout looks like. You'll be able to tell, if those are flipping in a massive way for Democrats, that means that it's going to be a tough night for Donald Trump. If they're not, and the rural vote is heavy, you might be able to take that trend into the actual battleground states. So that's the first thing you can look at.
Okay, Aisha, to you.
Will women dump Trump once and for all? Trump's abortion ban, getting rid of Roe, has really been a tipping point for conservative women. And you're seeing abortion on the ballot all around this country. And every single time it's been put to the test, conservative women have come out and said, get out of my conversations with my doctor, get out of my womb. I'm rejecting this. So will all women push back against Trump is really what I'm looking at.
Okay, Kevin, Aisha, thank you. We will see you right here next week.
Thanks.
Thank you.